I'm starting now, even though some people aren't here, because everybody's got to get up really early tomorrow. So we're on kind of a tight schedule. Welcome. So this isn't scripted. This is just, 30 years ago when I left my 30th anniversary, not 30 years, 10 years ago when I left our 30th anniversary party, and I thought, I wonder if we'll be doing this in 10 years. Wow. So first, let me welcome our youngest guest, Hudson. And thank you, Priscilla, for coming. Becca's mom is here so that she can help take care of Hudson, and we're so happy to have Hudson. And you know, when Hudson's like 12 and working as a temp at a show. So I want to welcome a few special people. Not that you're not all special, but we're going to just call it a few people. So one, Hudson I started with. So we have some vendors that have never been with us at a show. This is their first show. They don't know what they're in for yet. So I want to thank Tamara from Town Pride. Where are you? It's her first show with us. And Ashley and Melanie from Friendly Press. Where are you? There you guys are. And Peter from Pampa Bay is right there. Welcome. And Dawn and Deb from Garb to Art. So just as a side note, because I just think it's funny, I do not have an eye for product like my mother did. Deb reached out to me, and honestly, I was like, it's cute. But I know Deb for so long, I'm like, I'll do anything to work for you, because I've wanted to work for you for like 30 years, right? And all the reps just jumped in and started writing orders, and I'm like, oh, I guess that was a good decision. So welcome to all of our new vendors. We appreciate having you here. We welcome you to the Sales Producers family, and thank you for being here. Let's give them applause. So also a special welcome, because as you guys notice, we have a montage. So we have people that joined our team since January of last year, and they're not going to be in the montage because we only take pictures in January. So I want to make sure they feel welcome. So I want to welcome our newest team members who've joined us since January. So Renee, where are you? Can you raise your hand? Renee's in Southern Colorado. And then we have Robin in Arizona. And Kathy, our new Las Vegas showroom manager, in the red. And Connie, who's new in Northern Colorado, a bite of Wyoming, and a bite of Montana. And Kat, who, boy, she got here under some stressful situations. So where is she? There she is. Hi, Kat. Welcome, Kat. And then I want to welcome back Todd and Janetta. Welcome. Here, come sit here. That was a side note. Judy, we want to welcome you back. Where's Judy? Where is she? Oh. So for those of you that don't know, Judy worked with us pre-pandemic. I'm going to have a hard time talking tonight. And then she was just hitting her stride. And then the pandemic hit, so she made some changes and tried a few different lanes, and she came home. So we welcome her back to cover the South Bay area. And then Nicole, who covers part of Washington, had a vacation planned when we hired her, and though she tried to change it, she couldn't. So she'll be here on Sunday night or Monday, so you'll all meet Nicole then. So welcome to all of our new people. So I was going to play a drinking game, but since my team has to get up very early tomorrow, hi, Richard. It's people that I didn't greet when they came in. So we're not going to play a drinking game, but we are going to play a little bit of a game. So stand up if I knew you in the 80s. Okay, so we have Patty and Patrick and Bob and Sherry and Barb and Randy and Terrence. Okay, stay standing. How many of you were at our 30th anniversary party? Stand up. Paige, Dawn, April, Beth. Okay, so pretty small. Oh, wait, who? I can't see who that is. Oh, Annie. No, you're all dark. The jacket, the hair. Denise. Okay, did I miss anybody? I know I'm going to screw up a bunch of times tonight, so give me some grace here. Okay, so not a lot of you. So we will have some stories that will be revisited that you've already heard, sorry, in advance. Thank you for being with me for such a big part of my life and all of our great history together. I appreciate it. Okay, give them a hand since they're the oldies but the goodies. For those of you that didn't know Carol, it's important for you to know the story of how Sales Producers started, because she was an extraordinary woman, and she was an entrepreneur, and she was a trailblazer. Some of you knew her. But for those of you who didn't, you just need to know a little bit about how the company started, because the story needs to be told every 10 years, or whoever will listen. So Carol went to school to be a school teacher when I was born, because she thought that would be a good career for her, and she found out after the first semester that the bureaucracy of the public school system was not for her, so she opened a store. She opened a Hallmark store, because she thought Hallmark would be a good draw, but she hated Hallmark. So after she opened her first store, when she went to open her second store, Marla, where are you? Talk about not coloring in the lines. Hallmark requires you to carry a certain amount of Hallmark product. She didn't want to carry that much Hallmark product, so she'd reorder from recycled and all these other card lines that were just emerging. And when she went to open the next store, Hallmark would say, we don't want you to open another Hallmark store because you're not doing it the Hallmark way. And she said, you're right, I'm wrong. I'm gonna do it right this time. And she'd open her second store and she'd say, F that, and she would do the same thing over, and she did it 4 times. And I guess as much as Hallmark wanted her business, they just overlooked that. So she became known as a alternative card store before there was such a thing as an alternative card store. And that's really, it was pretty extraordinary. She sold her store for a profit. She did really well. Back in the day, things were different. And she decided to be a rep. And she loved being a rep. She loved it. She loved it. Randy Spohr. So Carol sold Stravina. Stravina had these name programs where they'd have like balloons and notepads and Post-it notes and names on everything. And if she sold a rack, like what did she make, $20? She'd call me at work and she'd go, I sold 3 racks today. Like, so what? She'd drive up in a Mercedes and she'd be servicing these racks, and it wasn't about the money to her. She loved the idea of helping stores be successful, and she loved the idea that she was helping them make money. So after she was a rep, she became a partner in that firm, and then one day I walked into her house and she said, we're gonna start our own effing company. Except she didn't say effing, but I'm trying to be respectful of people in the room in Hudson. So I was 22, okay, we'll start our own effing company. And that's how Sales Producers started. And, you know, she was smart because she couldn't afford to pay me, and, you know, she didn't want to well, she could afford, I should say that. She didn't want to pay me, so she made me a partner, because if you're a partner, I don't have to pay you, right? You'll make money someday. Carol, it's 40 years. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, so that's how the Sales Producer started. It was all Carol. Carol had the name. She thought that Sales Producers was a great name because we produce sales for our vendors and we produce sales for our retailers, and she thought that was a great name. And honestly, she didn't like names of companies that were people named, like Carol and Associates. She didn't like that. So that's how Sales Producers started in August of 1983. And she really was an extraordinary woman. So I want to make sure that she's acknowledged tonight. So a lot of people have been congratulating me about this 40-year anniversary, and I appreciate it. It's not that I don't appreciate it. But the 40 years is longevity, and longevity doesn't mean anything to me, because there are lots of companies in business a long time. That doesn't make them good. That doesn't make them, in my mind, successful. The measure of success for me is just different. So what I see as kind of what I'm most proud of on our team is not the longevity, but it's the success of the team. And, you know, there's so many companies that didn't make it. There are companies that were so big in the 80s that are gone in the 90s, and 90s, they're gone in the 2000s. So it's not, that's something to be proud of, but what I'm particularly proud of are the people. Because people, like why Patrick came to work for us in 1986, I don't know. I remember when Carol interviewed him, and I said, why do you want to work here? Got all this like shitty lines, because he was so cool, and I thought he would never want to work for us, but he did. And so many vendors that hire us when, you know, it was a big risk. Anyway, we had a lot of great people over the years, and they are the building blocks. So many of you are in the room that are the building blocks of sales producers, and there are many that aren't here that are equally the building blocks. They may have worked for us for a year, they may have worked for us for 10 years or longer, but they are equally as responsible for our success today. And I just want to make sure that even though we're not mentioning by name, that everyone knows that they all contributed, and we're very grateful for that. And we worked through some really hard times. So earthquakes and fires and floods and recessions, a few of them, riots and more fires and a pandemic. So we're here today not because of me, but because so many of you stuck with it through some really rough times. And I'm incredibly, deeply grateful for those people, because those are the people that built this company. I just talk a lot. So thank you to all of you for that.